This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Bruchim Habayim. Welcome everyone to a special edition of All Parsha on Parshas Acharei-Mos Kedoshim, the Haturim. On Parshas Acharei-Mos Kedoshim, we would like to present 5 nuggets of the Haturim on Parshas Acharei-Mos and another 5 nuggets of the Haturim on Parshas Kedoshim. Let us begin. Parak Tes Zayin, Pasuk Aleph. Many of the Haturim that we will examine today employ the method of smichos, which means to find the correlation between 2 adjacent and juxtaposed parshios in the Chumash. So we begin with the Haturim's observation that the end of Parshas Mitzorah speaks about the Nida, the Hadava b'Nidasa, and we know a Nida, before she's permitted to her husband, has to wait 7 days. And the mitzvah of Yom Kippurim, what is the correlation between a Nida and Yom Kippur? So the Haturim, Parak Tezayim Pasuk Aleph, says, Samach Parshas Yom Kippurim Parshas Nida, to teach that just like a Nida has to observe 7 days before she becomes Tahar, so too, before Yom Kippurim, as the first Mishnah says in Masechta Nida, in Masechta Yuma, Mafrishin, Kohen Gadol, Mi Beisai, Shavas Yomim, Koidem, Sheyikanes, Lashamesh, Lefnim. We too separate the Kohen Gadol 7 days in preparation for Yom Kippurim. So the connection between the Nida and the mitzvah of Yom Kippur is just like the Nida has to wait 7 days, so too the Kohen Gadol must prepare for 7 days. Parak Tes Zayin, Pasuk Yud Beis. This is talking about a description of the Ketores that the Kohen Gadol brought Lefnai v'Lefnim on Yom Kippurim. V'la kach malay hamachta gach aleish me'al hamizbech m'lefnei Hashem u'meloi chafnav ketores samim daka. Daka means thin. Rashi even says all ketores has to be daka, like it says v'shachakta mimena hadek, but the ketores of Yom Kippur has to be daka min hadaka. Says the Haturim twice in Tanakh we have the expression daka. Here, ketores samim daka, and the other one is when Eliyahu was hiding in the mountain, and the Rebbe Hashem wanted to appear to Eliyahu, and Hashem first came with a fire and with a wind, and Hashem was not in the fire, and Hashem was not in the wind, and the pasuk says, "V'achar ha'esh koil demama daka." What is the correlation between ketores samim daka and v'acharei ha'esh kol demama daka in Malachim Aleph? Says about Haturim there by the kol demama daka. After the kol demama daka, the kavod of Hashem appeared. So here too, through the ketores, ki be'anon era'eh al hakapores, through the anan haketores, that it says daka, we will be zoichet to that which it says regarding, in reference to daka in Malachim, namely the yireh kvod Hashem, the glory of Hashem will appear. We now go to Parak Tes Zayin, Pasuk Tes Zayin. It says, "V'chiper al hakodesh, Kohen Gadol will atone for the holy, mitumais b'nei Yisrael, from the impurities of the Jewish people, mipesheim, from their sins, l'chol chatoisam, v'chin yaseh la'oy ha'moyed, hashoichein itam, God who dwells with them, b'toich tumasam, within their tumah." And Rashi cites the Gemara in Yuma Nun Vav Amud Beis, Afal pi shehem tmeim, even when the Jewish people are tamei, shchina b'neim, the shchina is among them. Well, amazingly, the Haturim says the gematria, the numerical value of hashoichen itam b'toich tomalisam, is exactly the words of the Gemara in Yuma Daf Nun Zayin. Afal pi shehem hayu tmeim, even though the Jewish people were tamei, nevertheless hashchina b'neim, the shchina is among them. So this is also another technique of the Haturim to find the gematria of the Divrei Chazal in the very words that they darshan it from. Then we go to Parak Tes Zayin, Pasuk Chav Gimel. Uva Aharon Eloyom Mayeru Fashades Bigdei Habad Asher Lavash B'Vayoy Al HaKadosh V'Hini Cham Sham. He will leave the linen garments there. Now, the Gemara brings the machlokes twice on Yom Kippurim. The Kohen Gadol wears linen garments, once in the morning and once in the afternoon, and there's a machlokes how much they weighed. One opinion is they weighed 12 maneh in the morning, 8 in the afternoon. Another opinion is 18 in the morning, 12 in the afternoon, while the Haturim finds a remez to the opinion that it was 18 maneh in weight, in value. Its value was 18 maneh. Says about Haturim, oisiyos v'yudches maneh. The letters v'hini cham could be rearranged, and 18 maneh. Ba'boiker hayolavash begadim shayudches maneh. This indicates that in the morning the Kohen Gadol wore begadim that was valued at 18 maneh. And then our final offering on Parshas Acharei-Mos, Parak Yud Ches, Pasuk Hey. We have the Pasuk, Ushmartem es chukoisai, you should guard my statutes, v'es mishpatai, my judgments, asher yasa oisam ha'adam, that man should perform, v'chai bahem, from which the Gemara darshans, v'lo yamos bahem, that one does not have to give up their life to keep the mitzvahs. Says the Baal Haturim, it is certainly of note that the very next subject in the Torah is the inyan of arayos, ish al kol she'er b'saroi lo'isikravu legalois erva. Why the juxtaposition of the pasuk v'chai bahem, that one should live in the Torah, and one does not have to give up their life for the Torah, to the sin of arayos? Says the Baal Haturim, that is to indicate that even though one has to live in the Torah, one does not give up their life to observe the Torah, there is a cardinal sin that one does have to give up their life not to violate, and that is ish al kol she'er b'saroi. That is the sin of arayos, that when it comes to arayos, in fact, one would have to give up their life not to violate arayos. Okay, so those are the 5 offerings on Parshas Acharei-Mos. Let us now proceed to Parshas Kedoshim, Perek Yud Tes Pasuk Beis. We'll have a number of observations of juxtapositions in the Parsha. Daber el kol adas, speak to the whole community. So we have the word adas juxtaposed to kedoshim, to the idea of sanctity. Says the Baal Haturim, this indicates that in order to perform and recite a davar shebekdusha, kriyas haTorah, kaddish, kedusha, in order to do something which is classified as kedoshim, you need adas, you need an Eidah. We know an Eidah is 10, because we learn out Eidah from the Meraglim, which were 10, 12 minus Yehoshua and Kalev. So we learn out here. This is a remez that for kedoshim, for matters of sanctity, kriyas haTorah, kaddish, and kedusha, you need adas, you need a minyan. Says the Baal Haturim, that is why 10 times in the Parasha it says Ani Hashem Elokeichem, because for kedusha you need 10 Jews. Okay, we proceed in Parak Yud Tes Pasuk Tes. Uvekutzruchem es ketzir artzuchem loisechale, do not finish pa'as sadcha, the corner of your field. The gematria of pa'as sadcha, the corner of your field, is hapeya hu echad mishishim. The corner is 1 out of 60. Pa'as sadcha. From the words pa'as sadcha, they are numerically valued at hapeya hu echad mishishim. From here we learn out that the mitzvah of peya is 1/60th. That is the din of peya, indicated by the gematria of their words. We move on to Parak Yud Tes Pasuk Yud Gimel. Lo sa'as shaykas re'achav lo sigzol lo salin pu'ula sachir itcha ad boker. Don't withhold the wages of a worker with you until the morning. Meaning, if somebody needs to get paid, then they need to be paid on time. Do not withhold it overnight. And then juxtaposed to that, Pasuk Yadad, lo sikala chirish, don't curse a deaf person. What is the connection between these two ideas? Says the Baal Haturim, lo salin pula sachar, don't withhold the wages of a worker. So you may think, and if he does withhold my wages, then I'm really going to get back at him. I'm going to curse him. So the juxtaposition of lo salin pula sachar to lo sikala chirish is that even if he does withhold wages, don't curse the person. Instead, you should be toiveya him to the courts. Parak Yud Tes Pasuk Tes Vav. Lo sa'asu avel ba'mishpat, lo sisa fnei dal, v'lo sedar pnei gadol, b'tzedek tishboid amisecha. Now, what is the significance of the words b'tzedek tishboid amisecha? The Gemara tells us in Masechta Baba Kama Daf Pei Beis that Bezdin would convene on Mondays and Thursdays. B'tzedek tishboid amisecha. You know when you should judge your friend? B'tzedek. When the mazel of tzedek is strong. When is the Mazal Tzedek strong? The Gemara in Shabbos says, Kuf Chav Tes Amud Beis, Tzedek is Meshamesh on Monday in the beginning, and on Thursday in the beginning of the day, and therefore this is a remez to the courts convening on Monday and Thursday. But Tzedek, when Mazal Tzedek is prevalent, namely Monday and Thursday, that is when the courts should convene. And finally, we go to Perek Yotes, Pasuk Chaf Beis. V'chiper alav hakohen be'el ha'asham l'fnei Hashem al chatasai asher chata v'nislach loy mechatasai asher chata. Now, here we have the concept of slicha, of atonement, and immediately juxtaposed to v'nislach loy mechatasai is v'chisavoyu el ha'aretz. When you come to Eretz Yisrael, what is the connection between slicha and coming to Eretz Yisrael? Says the Baal Haturim. This indicates that anyone who lives in Eretz Yisrael, sharoi b'loy avayin, as the Gemara in Ksuba says, Kuf Yod Aleph Amud Aleph, that living in Eretz Yisrael has the mystical quality to atone for one's sin. So this is a remez to the Gemara in Ksuba's Kuf Yod Aleph Amud Aleph. V'nislach loy, where do we gain atonement? V'chisavoyu el ha'aretz, when we enter Eretz Yisrael. May HaKadosh Baruch Hu bring us all to Artseinu HaKadosha. We should be Zoicha, Slicha, Mechila, Kapara, Bracha, V'hatzlacha, Yeshua, Yisrachamas Lanu, Ulechol Yisrael. Amen. Wishing everyone a wonderful week and a wonderful Shabbos. Haba Alinu L'Taiva.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.